Look, I'm extremely pleased
très heureux de vous accueillir dans
to
notre
welcome
petite salle à
you here
manger
in our small dining
dans la
room,
perspective de la vente de cet après-midi.
you know, looking
Je vous
forward
rappelle
to
que c'est quand même la
our sale this
164e
afternoon. This will be the
des vins des Hospices de
164th
Beaune.
wine sale,
Conférence de presse habituelle.
usual
Beaucoup de choses à dire.
press
Des choses à dire, bien
conference
sûr, sur
today,
le
a
vin,
few
des
things
choses à
to
dire
say
sur la
about
vente, des choses à dire
wines,
sur nos
about the
parrains, nos
sale,
marraines, et
about
bien
our
sûr des choses à dire
sponsors,
sur
a few things we
les
want to
œuvres
share with you
qui vont
about
être
the
tout
various
à l'heure à
charities.
l'occasion de la mise aux
Later
enchères de
on,
la pièce de
we'll
charité.
be putting at auction our charity barrel.
C'est la première fois, je crois qu'on a
This is the first
4
time that we
parrains
have
et
4
marraines qui sont
sponsors
présents, enfin,
who
depuis
are
longtemps. Il faut revenir à quelques
who are
années en
attending. You
arrière.
know, several years
se
ago we
souvenir d'une
had
telle présence.
to
Je peux
remember
vous dire,
such a number.
pour les avoir déjà côtoyés depuis
I've
hier,
been meeting them
que
since
ça
yesterday,
manque pas d'ambiance.
and believe me, they put a lot
Effectivement,
of
je pense, une grande
atmosphere.
vente. Donc,
The
si
mood
vraiment
is
les
great.
acheteurs ne
So
sont pas
if
généreux,
the purchases
je
are
crois
not
que c'est
very
vraiment qu'ils n'ont rien
generous,
compris. En tout
well,
cas, je
it
crois
would
que
mean that they haven't understood
le travail
anything.
sera fait,
You
non
know,
seulement parce que le vin est
look,
bon,
the wine
mais
not
surtout
only
parce
is
que nos
good,
parrains et nos marraines
but
sont
also
excellents.
because we have excellent
Ils ont tous
sponsors
pris la
this year.
dimension des
They
ventes de
have
l'événement.
sized up
En buvant avec
immediately
modération, bien sûr, comme
the event,
d'habitude.
drinking
Mais,
moderately as
on a
usual.
vu que c'était
So
pas,
we
on ne fait
noticed
pas semblant.
that
On
they were
défend
not
aujourd'hui des
pretending,
causes.
you
On
know,
s'appelle Eva
when you defend
Longoria,
causes,
on
whether
s'appelle
you're
Dominique
Eva
West,
Longoria,
qui va nous
Jean
rejoindre,
Reno, or
bien sûr,
Dominique
Zabou
West,
Bertman. Je crois qu'on les défend vraiment.
and others really
Bien sûr, le
great.
dire, vous le verrez, je pense,
You will see
dès
we
cet
have
après-midi.
great sponsors this
Voilà, vous
afternoon.
dire simplement que c'est la plus vieille vente
Look,
de
this is
charité
the
du monde.
oldest
Quand
world
on parle de
charity,
164e vente, en fait,
64th actually,
depuis le Moyen
it has
Âge,
been
puisque
existing
depuis la
since
création
the
des
Middle
Hospices de
Ages,
Beaune,
since the creation of the
notamment de
Hospices de
Hôtel
Beaune,
Dieu,
especially of
ce
the
sont
Hôtel Dieu.
des dons de vignes.
These
qui sont
are
à l'origine
wine
des champs de
donations
notre
which
domaine
are
et qui
at the
sont
origin
vendus
of our
ici,
estate, which
dans
are
le même
sold
esprit de
here in
charité,
the
de
same
solidarité.
charity
Donc je
spirit.
dis pour
So I'm saying this
vos auditeurs, vos lecteurs,
to the listeners,
bien sûr,
to
toutes celles et tous
the
ceux qui
readers,
achèteront
all
cet
those who will
après-midi,
be buying this
déchirez
afternoon,
votre cœur.
you know,
Charité
tear up
bien
your
ordonnée commence par
heart and
soi-même.
be
C'est le
generous.
président de l'hôpital qui vous
You
le
know,
dit.
the chairman
Les Benoît
of the
le savent,
hospital
et
is
je le dis
telling
pour nos
you,
amis négociants,
and for our
si on veut
négociants,
avoir un
if
hôpital de
you
qualité, il
want
faut
to
être
have
aussi
a
généreux.
quality
Parce que
hospital, you
c'est
have
aussi
to
la
be
première
generous,
charité.
because it's
Il
the
y a bien
first
sûr la pièce de
charity, of
charité, mais
course,
il y a
there's
aussi tout le reste.
a charity barrel, but all the
Le
rest as
chiffre
well.
d'affaires qui sera réalisé cet
Revenues
après-midi permet
this afternoon
d'envisager,
enable
parce que
to
j'ai un directeur qui,
contemplate
très intimidé cette
some.
année, qui sait qu'il va falloir
By the
qu'il
way,
trouve
my
94
manager
millions
is
pour
saying we'll have to find 14
un
million
nouvel hôpital.
to
Donc,
build a new
on va essayer
hospital.
de penser à lui cet après-midi quand on fera
You know,
monter les enchères.
when we
Voilà, je ne peux pas
auction,
faire plus long,
think
parce
about
qu'effectivement, je crois
that.
qu'il y a beaucoup de choses
So,
à dire.
without any
Ludivine va
further
nous rejoindre.
ado,
Elle est là aussi, Ludivine.
where is Ludivine,
Elle est
by the
tellement
way?
discrète, Ludivine, c'est vrai qu'on la
She's
voit
so
jamais.
unassuming.
Elle a une discrétion
She
légendaire,
is
Ludivine.
very unassuming, very discreet,
Ça va, t'es
really.
en forme?
Are you
D'accord, toi,
fit
tu es en forme.
up
Alors,
and
vous savez qu'avec Ludivine, maintenant, on
with
invente
Ludivine,
beaucoup. On a
now
bien
we
sûr des vins bleus.
invent a
Maintenant, on a
lot.
des vins bleus.
Now we
D'habitude,
have
on
blue
rouge.
wines. Usually
On fait
you
un vin
have
bleu, c'est
red
très,
wines, and I mean
républicain. on a
blues.
du
That's
bleu,
very
du blanc, du rouge.
Republican.
Voilà, en tous les cas, c'était une excellente conférence
I
de
wish
presse.
you an
Je vais passer
excellent
aussitôt la
press
parole à mon
conference. I'll
directeur
turn it over
préféré.
immediately
Merci
to
à
my
vous d'être
preferred
là.
director. Thank you
Et
very
bonne
much
vente
for
cet
being
après-midi.
here, and we'll see you this afternoon for the auction sale.
Bonjour à toutes et tous.
Hello
Je suis très
everyone.
heureux de
I'm
vous
extremely
accueillir
pleased to
aujourd'hui,
welcome you
comme
today
parrain pour la 164e
for the
vente des vins des
164th
Hospices de Beaune.
wine
Alors,
sale.
comme vous le savez, grâce
As you
aux
know,
explications
thanks to
détaillées
the
données
detailed
par
explanations
Ludivine
given
Bio
by
ces
Ludivine
dernières
Bio in
semaines,
the past few
cette
weeks,
année, notre
this
première
year
bio
I
a donné des
first,
surfroides à nos
well,
23 vignerons
we,
et à
our
notre équipe
23
confiserie.
wine growers, you
Jusqu'au
know,
bout, il a fallu
had a cold
s'adapter à la
sweat.
nature
Right
et
up
relever les
to
défis
the end,
qu'elle
we had
nous
to
a
adapt to
lancés,
nature and
sans
meet the
perdre de vue
challenges
nos
she
engagements
threw
et notre
at us
philosophie.
without losing sight of our
Cela
commitments and
aboutit
our
à la
philosophy.
production de
This
438
resulted in the
pièces et
production
3
of
feuillettes de vin,
438
et 7
barrels
pièces
and 3
d'alcool
half barrels of
seront
wine
toutes mises
and
en
7
vente
barrels
cet
of
après-midi.
spirits, all of
Et
which
si la quantité,
will go on the
comme dans toute la Bourgogne,
164th wine sale.
malheureusement,
And
est en
while the
baisse,
quantity,
la
as
qualité
throughout Burgundy
est
is
encore une
down,
fois au
quality
rendez-vous,
is once again up
confirmant
there,
les bons
confirming
choix
that the
que
right
les bons
choices
choix
have
ont
been
été faits
made
par des
by
équipes
seasoned
expérimentées et
and
impliquées.
committed teams.
Même si la plupart
Although
d'entre
most
vous,
of you
vous connaissez
will
par
be
cœur la
familiar
particularité
with
des
the
Hospices
special
de
nature
Beaune,
of the
à la fois
Hospices
un
de
hôpital
Beaune
de référence
as the
du
region's
territoire,
leading
propriétaire
hospital,
de l'Hôtel
owner
Dieu,
of the Hotel
le
Dieu,
site touristique
the
payant
most
le plus fréquenté
visited
de
paying
Bourgogne-Franche-Comté,
tourist site in
avec
Burgundy,
environ
Franche-Comté, with
450 000
about
visiteurs par an,
50,000 visitors a year and operate of 60 acres or 150 acres of wines for the domaine des Hospices de Beaune and 12 hectares for the domaine des Hospices de Nuit Saint-Georges. I would like to remind you this morning of the vital importance of the sale for our hospital.
Un petit peu parlé.
As a matter of fact, the funds raised enable the Hospices Civils de Beaune to invest in new buildings and equipment. In particular, the year 2024 saw the launch of preparatory work for the construction of a new building that will replace the first building of the modern era of the Hospice, which dates back to 1971 and is no longer suitable for good patient care and the working conditions needed by carers and doctors. It will also enable us to rethink the way the site is organized, and in particular patient flow, to make it simpler and more logical. Let's now discover a little video that will show you what the new site will look like thanks to the work of our partner.
Dans la continuité de la volonté de leurs fondateurs, Nicolas Rollin et Guigone de Salins, les Hospices civils de Beaune poursuivent leur évolution pour toujours mieux répondre aux besoins de santé de la population du territoire.
Situé en limite de la ville, il est ouvert sur les paysages viticoles des climats beaunois. Le bâtiment H, hôpital pilote de l'époque moderne, sera remplacé par un nouveau bâtiment situé au plus près du plateau technique, reliant ensemble tous les services de l'hôpital. L'entrée principale du site sera plus visible. Le hall existant est restructuré, offrant un accueil chaleureux aux patients et aux visiteurs qui sont orientés sur ces deux côtés de manière intuitive. À gauche vers les consultations et l'imagerie, à droite vers les hospitalisations. À travers une galerie paysagée, on accède aux ascenseurs qui desservent les unités d'hospitalisation. Depuis le poste de soins, les équipes soignantes sont en position centrale dans des locaux intelligents et lumineux. Les aménagements confèrent à chaque chambre une ambiance chaleureuse et hôtelière. Les chambres sont principalement orientées vers l'ouest, au calme, avec une vue vers les paysages de la montagne de Beaune. Les façades sont en terre cuite, incrustées d'un motif en tuiles émaillées, qui remémore la noblesse des toitures de l'Hôtel-Dieu de Beaune. L'hôpital reflète la palette de couleurs des vignes environnantes. Au rez-de-chaussée, les services de soins intensifs sont construits au plus près des urgences. Aux étages, les services ambulatoires se trouvent contigus au plateau technique. Les unités d'hospitalisation s'étendent en façade ouest, avec une vue sur le paysage. Une nouvelle entrée est créée pour offrir un accès direct aux patients couchés, aux soins ambulatoires et aux parturientes, au plus près des services. Le service des urgences est remanié. L'accès des ambulances est déporté en façade ouest. Les flux sont parfaitement séparés. L'accueil des urgences est relocalisé en façade sud, identifiable et évident.
Une nouvelle page s'ouvre dans l'histoire des Hospices civils de Beaune. Elle renouvelle un engagement ancestral, l'accès à des soins de qualité pour tous et un cadre de travail confortable et performant pour les soignants.
Merci, merci.
Thank you.
Donc vous voyez ce beau
So you
projet
can
que
see
nous
this
lançons,
beautiful
qui va
project we are
mettre
launching
quelques années,
that it will take a
et en
few
quelques
years
chiffres,
to
qui
materialize. Now, a
représente
few figures.
195 lits et places.
195
Nous allons
beds and
démolir
places. We will be
1675 mètres carrés.
demolishing
Nous venons d'ailleurs d'achever le
1,675 square
déménagement
meters. We
provisoire
have
des
just
soins
completed the temporary
Nous
work.
allons construire
Move of the
environ
intensive
14 000
care
mètres
unit.
carrés
We'll be building about
et
14,000
restructurer
square
670
meters and
mètres carrés.
restructure 670 square meters.
Donc,
So,
les travaux débuteront
work
à
will
la fin
start
du
at
premier
the end of
trimestre.
the first
Vraiment, les
quarter
travaux de grosses œuvres
of
débuteront à la
2025
fin
with
du premier
completion
trimestre
scheduled
2025 pour une fin des
for
opérations
early
au début de l'année 2028
2028.
et un déménagement début d'année
So
2028.
we'll be moving
Donc tout ça
early
pour
in
toutes
2028.
dépenses
All of this for a
confondues,
total
près de
budget
90 millions
for all
d'euros,
expenditures
Alain
of
l'a
nearly
rappelé.
86
Et sans
million
la
euros.
générosité
Without
des
the
acheteurs de la
generosity
vente
of buyers
des
at the
vins,
wine
il serait
auction, it
totalement
would be
impossible
totally
pour un
impossible
établissement de
for
notre
an
taille
establishment
de
of
lancer
our
une telle
size to
opération.
launch such an operation.
Nous n'oublions pas non plus
Nor
nos
are we
autres sites
forgetting
qui
the other
composent les
sites
Hospices
that
civils de
make up
Beaune,
the Hospices civils de
Arnay-le-Duc,
Beaune, Arnay-le-Duc,
Nuit-Saint-Georges
Nuit-Saint-Georges, and Sur.
D'ailleurs, nous venons de
We
recevoir
have
les
just
études de
received, by the way, the
faisabilité pour reconstruire,
feasibility
et on aime
studies
bien
for
construire,
rebuilding
ce
this
site avec un
site
budget
with an
prévisionnel de
estimated
20 à
budget
25
of
millions
20
d'euros.
to 25 million
J'ai
euros.
d'autres idées.
And I have other ideas.
Enfin, parmi
Finally,
les projets que
among
je
the
vous
projects
citais
I wanted
aujourd'hui
to
et qui
mention
sont majeurs
today,
pour
and there are
l'hôpital,
major ones
nous
for the
souhaitons
hospital,
investir dans de
we want to
nouveaux
invest in
équipements
new
pour être à la
equipment so
pointe de
that
la
we are at the
technologie
cutting
dans les
edge of
domaines comme
technology in
l'ORL
areas
ou
such
encore
as
l'ophtalmologie.
ENT or
Et le meilleur
ophthalmology.
exemple
The
de
best
cette
example
ambition est
of this
l'achat en
ambition is the
2025
purchase
d'un
in
robot
2025
chirurgical qui
of a
était en
surgical
discussion
robot
depuis de
for the
nombreuses années,
benefit
au
of
bénéfice des patients,
patients
ainsi que
as
pour
well as to
affirmer
affirm
notre
our appeal
attractivité
to
auprès des
practitioners
praticiens. La plupart
most
sont
of whom
dorénavant
have
formés sur
received
cette
training
modalité
in this
robotique
new
dans les pièces.
procedure.
Vous voyez que les hospices civils
So
de
as you
Beaune
can
ont de
see, the
nombreuses
Hospices
idées
Civils
pour
de
continuer
Beaune
à progresser et
have
pour
many
améliorer la prise en
ideas
santé
to continue
des
to
110 000
make progress
personnes
to
du Côte
improve
d'Or.
healthcare for the
Je vous remercie.
110,000 people living in the southern Côte d'Or. Thank you very much.
Et s'il n'y a pas de questions,
If there
je peux
aren't
prendre
any
des
questions,
questions.
well,
si vous souhaitez.
I can take questions if
Mais
you
nous avons
so
été très
wish.
clairs.
Apparently we have been very
Je vais
clear.
laisser la parole à
I'll
Marianne
turn it
Giraud
over
pour
to
sa-
Marianne Giraud now from Sotheby's.
Bonjour à tous.
Hello, everyone.
Merci Guillaume.
Thank you,
Quel
Guillaume.
plaisir renouvelé d'être
It's
ici
such a
sous la
pleasure
halle
to be
après
here with you
l'intervention de
after
Guillaume et,
Guillaume's
tout ce qui fait sens pour
presentation
cette
and
vente, pour
everything
nous
that
tous
makes
équipes
sense for
Sotheby's. Nous
this
sommes chaque année
sale.
très fiers,
Each year we're
très
very
heureux,
proud,
très
very
honorés
happy,
de
very
porter la
honored
vente, la
to
quatrième pour nous, la
support
164e
our
pour
fourth
les hospices.
sale, and the
C'est une vente que nous
164th for the
préparons,
Hospices. This sale
toute l'année,
is prepared
d'année en
throughout
année, 12 mois,
year
aux
after
côtés
year. And
de
next
l'équipe des
to
Hospices de
the
Beaune,
Hospices de Beaune
très
team,
régulièrement auprès de Ludivine
very
Griveau.
regularly with Ludivine
C'est vraiment
Griveau.
notre
This
travail,
is
notre
really
passion
our
que
passion
d'expliquer
to explain
aux côtés de Ludivine et de son
with
équipe
Ludivine
ce que
and
sont
her team
ces vins, la
what are
particularité de cette
these
vente.
wines,
Nous, on a
the
l'habitude de
uniqueness
faire
of
énormément
this
de
sale.
ventes de
We
vins, nous sommes
used to
leaders, comme vous le savez, sur les vins
selling
de ce moment.
wines. We are
Mais là,
leaders
les
in,
Hospices de Beaune,
but
c'est
the
vraiment
Hospice
cette
de Beaune for
particularité
us,
du temps
it's
différent,
unique because it's a
de
different
expliquer ce que
time
seront
frame.
ces vins, de
We need to
deviner, de
explain
faire
what
confiance.
these wines will
Et
be,
c'est vrai que
and we
le
need to
sel,
instill
évidemment, de cette
confidence.
vente,
And the
c'est
salt
la
of
cause
the sale is
de
the
l'hôpital.
cause.
Et aujourd'hui, pour
And
la pièce des
today,
présidents,
for
les
the
deux
President's
associations
Barrel,
très
and for,
impressionnantes pour lesquelles
there are
nous
some
travaillons.
impressive associations
Notre
involved.
travail, c'est de
Our
faire
work
découvrir
is to make
aussi à des
sure
clients
we
particuliers, de
help
travailler tous les jours avec
people discover work
l'ensemble
every
de nos
day
collègues
with
d'un bout
all
à
our
l'autre du pays.
colleagues.
Nous avons fait des voyages,
We
vous savez,
traveled.
enfin, nous avons fait voyager les
Well,
vins
we made sure that
de
wines
l'Amérique du
traveled
Sud à l'Asie en
from
passant par
South
Dubaï cette année.
America
n'oublions pas
through
Paris, pour
Asia
ceux
and
qui,
Dubai,
connaissent nos
and for
espaces,
those
nous
who know
avons ouvert
our
un nouveau
spaces,
bâtiment
we've opened a new building,
rue du Faubourg
rue
Saint-Honoré.
du Faubourg
Nous avons
Saint-Honoré in
alloué un
Paris,
espace entier
and we
à
have
la
a
découverte
full
des vins, une cave
space
de
area
dégustation.
for the
C'est très
discovery of
important pour
wine.
nous
So
de
it's very
continuer
important
à
for us
faire
to
découvrir
continue
la
to make sure people
particularité
discover
et
the
le plaisir,
uniqueness and the
des
pleasure
vins des Hospices de
of
Beaune.
the
Je
wines
ne
of
vais
the
pas,
Hospices de
parler
Beaune.
davantage
I will
et je ne
now stop
veux
at this
pas vous
stage.
priver du
I
temps
will not
merveilleux
deprive you
de
of
pouvoir
the
échanger
marvelous
avec les
time of being
associations,
able
si ce n'est
to
vous dire que nous sommes très
discuss with the
enthousiastes,
associations.
que nous
Well,
avons
I want to say
enregistré
that we're
un
very
record,
enthusiastic. We
d'enchérisseurs
recorded
pour aujourd'hui.
a new
Donc,
record
certes,
for
les quantités
today.
sont celles que vous
Certainly, the
connaissez,
quantities
mais,
are those you
l'appétit
are
et les
aware
attentes
of,
des
but the
clients
appetite and
sont
the
là.
expectations of
Voilà.
our customers are right there. Thank you.
Me revoici.
I'm back.
La transition est toute trouvée.
This is the
Effectivement, la
transition.
vente est aussi
Yes, the
l'occasion
sale
pour
is
les
also an
Hospices de
opportunity
Beaune,
for
vous
the
savez,
Hospices de
d'accompagner une
Beaune
cause
to support a
représentée
cause
par différentes
represented by
associations dans le
different
cadre de la mise
associations
aux
as
enchères
part
de la
of
pièce
the
de
auction
charité
of
ou
the
pièce des présidents.
charity or the
Cette année, la cause
president's
retenue
this
est
year.
One's,
The cause
ou en bon
is
français,
where
une seule santé.
One Health.
Concept qui se
This
développe depuis
concept
quelques
has been
années,
developing
au point
for
où,
several
pour la
years
petite
up
anecdote,
to the
l'inscription de
stage
l'hôpital de Beaune dans
the
cette démarche
the
nous est
recording
demandée
Hospital
par
de
le
Beaune
directeur
is
général de l'Agence régionale de
required
santé.
by the health
Il s'agit d'une approche
manager.
intégrée
This is an
qui vise à
integrated
préserver
approach
la santé des
which
personnes et des
aims to protect the health of
La
people and
santé
ecosystems.
végétale,
Plant,
environnementale et
environmental,
humaine
and human
sont
health
intimement
are
liées.
intimately linked.
Ainsi,
So,
l'approche
the One Health
s'appuie
approach
sur les liens
draws
étroits
on
et
the close
interdépendants
and
qui
interdependent
existent entre
links
ces
between
différents
these
domaines
different
pour
fields
créer de nouvelles
to create
méthodes
new
de veille
methods
et de
for
lutte contre
monitoring
les
and
maladies.
combating disease.
Un hôpital public
A
comme
public
les Hospices
hospital
de
like the
Beaune ne
Hospice
peut que
Civil de
s'inscrire
Beaune
dans
can
une
only
telle
be part of
démarche
such a
360,
360-degree
a fortiori
approach,
vu notre spécificité de domaine
which is
viticole
really
au cœur de son
specific to us.
environnement. Et en
And so
plus,
this is
l'année,
all
le
the more
domaine
true
des
given
Hospices de
that
Beaune
we're at the heart of
passe
our
en bio.
environment, we are wine
Et
growers.
dans ce cadre très
So,
transversal, nous avons choisi,
as part of this
avec Alain et le conseil de
cross-disciplinary
surveillance,
approach, we have chosen two institutions to benefit from the sale of the
vont
President's
dorénavant pouvoir
Barrel.
se présenter.
So we'll be
Tout d'abord,
introducing themselves
Médecins sans
first. Médecins sans frontières, MSF.
Bonjour à tous.
Hello everyone.
Quel privilège,
What an
quel
honor.
plaisir d'être
How-
ici avec vous.
What a pleasure
La
to be here with
directrice
you.
de la collecte
I am
des
the
fonds pour les
director
Médecins sans
of the
frontières.
Médecins sans frontières for the
Quand nous
private
avons reçu l'excellente nouvelle que
collection.
notre
When
association
we
était
heard that our association had been selected to benefit from the sale of the charity barrel, immediately we were delighted in terms of what it represents in terms of finances that we would have for our organization. For my part, I could didn't imagine that we were also embarking into a major journey into generosity, into sharing, and the excellent welcome that was extended to us here. I didn't expect that. First of all, I would like to thank Mr. Mayor, Mr. Sugnot, and the director of the Hospices de Beaune for having selected Médecins Sans Frontières, and also our ambassadors, Dominique West and Mr. Reitman, to support us in this cause to make sure that auctions go up. We hope they will be high, and I thank all the people who make this day possible. Before I talk more about Médecins Sans Frontières, and before I yield to Dr. Rieu, who will speak about what we do around neglected tropical diseases, I'd like to come back to a case which moved me a lot. We had talked about it in Paris during the press conference that took place at Sotheby. It's a case of a little girl called Aisha, and he was hit in Nigeria by a disease. That girl, following her disease, had a major hole in her face. This is a very swiftly moving disease, and if it's taken care of quickly or on time, then people can survive. But usually there are some stigmas on the face. So this little girl had a major hole in the cheek, so she was no longer going to school, she was not having any social life. She was taken care of by our teams in Africa with a rebuilding, and we have a beautiful video where we see her smiling. It's very moving, and wanted to share this with you. Her name is Numa. This disease is part of the tropical neglected diseases. These are about 20 diseases that were recorded by the World Health Organization. Commonly, they are neglected. In other words, we don't know them very well. If I mention some of them, like Noma, leishmaniasis, the Sagas, the sleeping disease, we have a band now. These diseases have in common of being in countries that are a bit remote, which are very poor and vulnerable. This is why we don't know them very well. They're intimately related to the context, to the environment, and the director of the Hospices de Beaune spoke about One Health. These are diseases that are connected to the climate, to the environment, which are strengthened by the climate change, by this very strong urbanization. Having said that, they are away from the radar. They concern 1.7 billion people on Earth. These diseases hit 1/5 of global population. Shouldn't be overlooked or neglected, even though you don't know them very well. Pharmaceutical laboratories are not very concerned about them. We have few treatments, very little diagnosis, and this is why we hope that these sales will help us move forward into research, into knowing better these diseases and in our actions. I will yield now our medical director share with you what we are doing about these diseases. Hello everyone. It's not by chance if both of us from MSF are here. It shows that we doctors are nothing without the money coming from donors, and we are very fortunate at Médecins Sans Frontières is that we nearly work only with private donations, with people who give a little bit, give more, who give much more, and really all of our actions are related to the solidarity and to public generosity. So now I'd like also to say that we are faced with climate change in this period. For example, we are faced with new health-related challenges, new diseases, new humanitarian catastrophes, and One Health makes sense on the ground when you're facing patients who are suffering from all of this. Médecins Sans Frontières
n'est pas qu'une organisation, enfin c'est une organisation qui soigne, mais c'est une organisation aussi qui essaye de prendre des innovations, de faire de la recherche pour essayer de modifier les pratiques. Et on vous parlera particulièrement du projet qu'on soutient au Honduras, qui est un projet qui consiste à faire de la lutte vectorielle contre une maladie qui s'appelle la dengue, qui est transmise par les moustiques. Et au lieu d'utiliser des pesticides qui sont extrêmement néfastes et pour l'environnement, et pour les animaux, et pour les êtres humains, on utilise des moustiques infectés par une bactérie qui permet de diminuer la transmission de la dengue. C'est juste aussi pour dire, et pour reboucler et rejoindre avec le fait qu'on essaye aussi d'avoir cette démarche éco-responsable, y compris dans les terrains dans lesquels on travaille, et y compris dans des pays qui sont eux aussi soumis à tout l'impact climatique. Voilà, je crois que je vais m'arrêter là. C'était juste pour rappeler ça. Et surtout, vous remercier tous, remercier l'ensemble des organisateurs pour nous avoir invités. Et vraiment un grand merci du fond de cœur à notre parrain et à notre marraine d'être avec nous et de soutenir notre cause aujourd'hui. J'ai pas mon papier.
I don't have my paper.
Mais oui, moi je suis extrêmement... Le remerciement retourne à MSF parce que je trouve ça
for MSF. I think it's great that for having been chosen as sponsor, hopefully we'll be doing this very well with Dominique West and get a maximum of finance and make sure that these auctions move.
Attention, je ne parle pas de la maladie.
So I'm not talking about the disease. No, talking about mosquitoes.
On parlait des moustiques et non, je disais hier que les moustiques voyagent aujourd'hui. Et donc, tout ça est très très loin de nous, mais c'est très près de nous.
But also very close to us because everything is close and nearby. Either it's all very ethical and we feel that everyone should feel good even if people are far away, or it's practical, we say sooner or later they'll come to us. So whatever happens, it's in our interest to get moving. Thanks for the Hospices de Beaune for this marvelous invitation. I'm very proud of this, really.
Sorry, it's day 4 for me. And I can't believe we've got to go through another banquet before we even get to the auction. But hopefully that'll loosen everybody up and we'll have a great day because it is our great honor to be representing Médecins Sans Frontières, one of the world's great institutions. It was founded in 1971 in Paris by doctors and journalists and now employs over 69,000 people in 70 countries. We all know about Médecins Sans Frontières. We all know what's going on in the world at the moment, and there has never been a better time to support this wonderful charity, and let's hope we get a big number today. So please be with us.
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much. This is very compelling, very convincing.
Je vais laisser maintenant la parole à la Global Gift Foundation.
To the Global Gift Foundation with a film, I believe, right? Coming from the Global Gift Foundation.
Global Gift Foundation est une organisation humanitaire fondée en 2013 par Maria Bravo avec un objectif clair, apporter un changement réel et positif dans la vie des enfants, des femmes et des familles en situation de vulnérabilité. Depuis, nous avons collaboré avec diverses fondations à l'échelle mondiale en lançant et soutenant des initiatives qui apportent non seulement des solutions, mais aussi de l'espoir. Parmi nos plus grandes réalisations se distingue l'orphelinat Quang Cho au Vietnam, un foyer sûr et rempli d'amour pour les enfants dans le besoin. De plus, lors de chaque urgence humanitaire, la Global Gift Foundation a répondu présente. Nous avons apporté notre soutien après le tremblement de terre à Oaxaca au Mexique. Nous étions là après l'ouragan Maria à Porto Rico et aux Philippines suite au typhon. Aujourd'hui, nous vous présentons notre projet le plus récent, Casa Honreles, nous avons ouvert un centre de jour situé à Marbella en Espagne, dédié aux enfants ayant des besoins spéciaux ainsi qu'à leurs familles. Dans cet espace, ils reçoivent des soins et des traitements spécialisés prodigués par des kinésithérapeutes, des médecins et d'autres professionnels engagés pour améliorer leur qualité de vie. Ces besoins nécessitent des équipements de haute technologie et des ressources considérables, et chaque don fait la différence. Une fois de plus, l'urgence nous appelle. Aujourd'hui, à Valence, en Espagne, de nombreuses personnes font face à la dévastation causée par une catastrophe naturelle. Nous ne pouvons pas détourner le regard. Cette fois encore, nous nous associons avec l'association Mensajeros de la Paz pour apporter aide et espoir aux victimes et contribuer à la reconstruction de leur vie. Avec votre soutien, nous pouvons faire en sorte que ce rêve de solidarité perdure. Rejoignez notre cause et devenez acteurs du changement.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. First, I just want to say thank you for being chosen. Global Give is the first Spanish foundation, Spanish America foundation they've been benefiting in 164 years, which is an immense honor and an immense responsibility. For us, what we do around the world is taking care to children and embracing women. We unite our forces to create more impact in the foundations that we support and in the communities that we are. We are in 10 countries. We have orphanage, homes, different projects. But today, what we're going to focus is in 2 projects. One is Casa Angeles, who you saw there. We have children with rare diseases and special need that not only they get the treatments that they need there, treatments that we bring from all over the world. We teach our local doctors to do this treatment, but also a center, a home, because when a child has a disease, the whole family has that disease. So it's very important to embrace the family. So this center we created where the parents can come and have psychological support, a support system to give them the tools that they need to take care of the child, and also the children, the brothers and sisters of the child who has a disease can come there and play. And most of these children are spending 90% of their time in hospitals. So we wanted to create that space that they feel happy to come because they know their brothers and sisters are playing, their mother sharing stories with other parents, and they get the care that they need. And also the second part, and this was done very shortly, is that Global Give, every time there is a tragedy, we try to be there because we believe in support those they need the most. At this moment, Valencia in Spain is going through a tragedy. I'm sure you all have seen in the news. Our partner, Mensajeros de la Paz, they are located in situ there to bring food, medical care, and yes, rebuilding the space. So we're very honored with this money, we're going to change their lives and continue to support our children. Thank you.
Bonjour à tous. It's my second day and I'm just as bad. That's a bad idea to have that dinner last night and this press conference today. No, I'm just kidding. Merci beaucoup. I'm so excited to be here with the Global Gift Foundation. We started about 15 years ago, and we're very proud of what we've built throughout the world. We focus on women and children because when you help a woman, she helps her family. And when you improve families, you improve communities and then end up improving nations. And so we're very honored to be here, honored to be chosen, honored to put a spotlight on the work that we've been doing for a very long time, and really want to say thank you for choosing our foundation. Je suis honorée d'être parmi vous aujourd'hui. C'est avec gratitude que j'accepte cette
It is with very much gratitude that I accepted this, and I'm very proud of being the first Latin South American organization. Thank you very much to receive this honor. And we thank every organizer here. It's unbelievable. C'est extraordinaire le travail que vous faites. And the work we carry out with our association to support women, families, children, everyone throughout the world. Especially, it's dear to my heart, and today your support contributes directly to our actions. We change lives. Thank you so much from the bottom of our heart. Et merci de nous avoir invités ici. Et nous félicitons ces autres organisations extraordinaires. Merci.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup.
Et maintenant, je vais passer la parole à nos amis du BIVB, tout d'abord son président délégué, François Labet.
Beaune Burgundy Management Board. Thank you. Mr. Labet first.
Much less glamorous.
C'est moins prestigieux, désolé, mais c'est tout aussi important, je pense, car bien entendu, sans le vin, sans les raisins, pas d'hospice, il n'y aurait pas de vente, pas de charité. Donc quelques paroles, quelques mots. Maintenant,
je vais vous parler de 2024. Vous avez tous compris ce que j'ai dit.
You all understood what I said in English, right? So now 2024.
Comme ce matin.
Similarly to this morning, with the sunrise, the sky was like overcast, and now everything is finally unveiling. A few figures with regard to climate, which is affecting us. We underwent heavy rainfall with considerable increases in the Côte d'Or, plus 42%, plus 46% in the Yonne region. All of this with high temperatures. Fortunately, we managed, thanks to about 10 days before the harvest, to harvest ripe grapes. And with that, we were able to produce good wines, savory wines, tasty wines, which enabled us to satisfy the palate of those who tasted them already. In the reds and whites, we must, really congratulate our teams. Ludivine agrees with me. For her first year in fully organic harvest, look, the season was very, very tough, as you can easily imagine. And without the commitment of all of us, we would not have been able to pick so much. We have no holidays during weekends this year. Our teams doubled their efforts until August. And then the end of August and the early September, thank God, saved the vintage. Well, let's talk about volumes of the harvest in a wine-growing region, which is very small, compared to France, and even smaller on a global scale. Since Burgundy is 3% of wine surface areas in France, we harvested this year in about 1,135 hectoliters of wine, which is not much compared to 2023, where it was 1,900,000 hectoliters. But we are not in the same situation in 2021, when we had a lot of frost, and it was awful, which for the people who, the volumes available are far more significant now, and this will enable, in all likelihood, and we hope, to obtain beautiful, even prices.
Vous avez donc goûté ces
vins.
Ils sont savoureux, ils sont brillants, ils sont
tasty,
purs,
brilliant, pure.
Nous croisons les doigts pour cet après-midi.
Touch wood for this afternoon.
Laurent, mon compère, président, vous parlez d'éléments plus factuels, à savoir
more
la situation
fact-based elements, that is the economic situation of our region. Over to you.
Merci François.
Thank you, François.
Alors François a rappelé que
François reminded us that 2024, the situation was quite different compared to what we had in 2021. Remember, in 2021, following nearly 20 years of soaring Burgundy wines, the harvest was very small. We had lots of frost, which caused some soaring prices. These soaring, skyrocketing prices came when inflation was high after the COVID had a consequence in 2023, where we're in negative in the red by nearly minus 7%. Things have totally turned around. First of all, the situation with 2024 is quite different.
Le millésime 2024
the vintage 2024 comes after 2022 and 2023, a year when we had a harvest that was quite bountiful, and we have enough inventories and stocks. So we can be upbeat and hope that prices will remain quite reasonable with the 2024 vintage, and that we don't see these soaring prices. And of course, these wines are being less consumed on a global basis. There's still inflation, purchasing power is slower, and the market is more difficult. Having said this, Burgundy is in a position which is quite unique in France currently, since we are back in the black. This is the good piece of news I wanted to share since the beginning of the year. So after 2023, where we're in the red by about 7% on average between France, taking to place France and the exports, now in the first 7 months we are plus 3.2% in volume in the French market, with large retailers plus 2.4% in value, and with regard to exports, plus 4% in volume and 3.7% value-wise. So what can this be attributed to? This is due to the fact that consumers globally, the markets remain, well, they still have an appetite for the Burgundy wine, and this is due to the fact that with the 2022-3 of the vintage and the beginning of the vintage of 2023, prices again are reasonable, and once prices are under control in Burgundy, well, consumers feel like tasting Burgundy. Demand exceeds supply, and then we're back in the positive, so it's a very good piece of news for Burgundy. At the export, focusing on a few markets, the United States are in positive again, plus 7.4% in volume and 14.6% in value. This concerns, and it's interesting because it concerns a lot the wines, and especially the Appellation Régionale, that is our low entry, so that we can build on this base the awareness about Burgundy, and hope that consumers come back to our wines, which are of a higher reputation. In Canada also is off, plus 9 in volume, plus 8 in value. Also, the Appellation Régionale are really pulling it off, mostly. A more mixed in terms of the UK and Japan, which are slightly laggards. What is interesting for us is also the pickup again of Asian markets, which we consider as our outsiders, on average plus 16% in volume and 15% up, nearly similar in value, with a good pickup again of China. This is an excellent piece of news. So plus 35% in volume since the beginning of the year, and Korea is faring quite well. And one last piece of information on the export, so we always pay attention a lot to our top 5. We have a new country that is part of our top 5, that's Sweden. Sweden is continuing to advance and was not even in the top 10 20 years ago, is now in the top 5. These are the good information. You'll get everything in a more detailed way, but these are the information I wanted to share with you. Maybe also share a concern that we have, which is important for us, which is the high variety that we see now in the past 10 or 12 years, from one year to the next. So there's a very telling graph in your dossier that shows the production of Burgundy wines in the past 55 years, I believe, and you can see that in the past 12 years, it's a seesaw effect, it goes up and down. We know the reason. It's due, of course, to the climate change. I just mentioned the last 2 years, 2021, we had a major spring frost correlated to the climate change. That was the lowest productive year in the past 40 years at a level that was of now in 2022 1.8 million, the next year nearly 2 million, absolute record. In 2024 we are at 1,035,000. Shows you the seesaw effect. So it's very difficult therefore to have this under control, to drive this for our operators. It raises many concerns. Of course, we are highly involved in many projects in terms of research and development in order to adapt our vineyards, our vinification to these conditions which are quite changing, and it's data that is real. And let me end by telling you our strategic goal for our wine board, which we started 2 years ago, which is about reaching carbon neutrality in 2035. We're well ahead about Europe compared to the European goals. So 2035 is very ambitious and requires a lot of engagement from all of us. And believe me, we, the wine growers, are aware of what we owe to nature, and we are highly committed. Thanks to all of you then. We are available for you now, François and myself, if you have any questions about these figures and about these trends. Madam, over to you. A roving mic.
J'en ai une à propos du marché américain.
The US market.
Quelles sont vos prévisions?
What are your forecasts?
Compte tenu des
prévision, bien
no forecast is the answer.
Ça nous dépasse un tout petit peu parce qu'on a des instances nationales qui sont chargées
national authorities which are responsible for tracking these things. I think you are alluding to the Trump's election and the risk of having taxes on wines. Again, I can share one or two things about this. There are two issues of concern for us. The first one is the tax, the general across-the-board tax that Trump spoke about of 10 to 12% importing for the imports of any country. If it's put in place, it will make our wines more expensive, but it will be a lesser evil because all products will be impacted evenly, and there won't be any distortion. Therefore, in terms of competition, as we had experienced in the past, when there were taxes, specific taxes coming from President Trump in 2019, 2020. And that one is more worrisome because at any point in time it comes back. And we had the collateral victims at the time of the commercial litigation between Europe and the US. And it's only French wines that had been impacted negatively. The Italians had not been impacted. This has distorted competition. So we are quite concerned about this. We keep track of this very closely, and at our level anyway, there are very few things that we can do ourselves or negotiate directly in Europe, perhaps. My hope, I'm someone optimistic, my hope is that President Trump commercially, perhaps, is that he be a man open. He likes to negotiate, he likes transactions. Certainly we'll have to go through significant transactions, and Europe will have to give certain things to obtain the fact that we not be too much impacted by all of this.
Y a-t-il, monsieur?
Sir.
Sur le Côte de Beaune, Côte de Nuit,
j'ai cru comprendre
que le vagari de la climat et tout ça qui a
that the change in climate has diminished the yield.
Oui, c'est tout à fait vrai.
Answer, yes, that's absolutely true.
Oui. Plus on part plus on descend vers le sud, meilleure était la situation. Le plus c'était touché, c'est le nord de la Bourgogne,
it's the north of Burgundy, the Chablis and the Châtillonnais were hit the hardest by the weather conditions and by disease. Then the Côte de Nuit, there the production was sharply reduced by nearly 50%. It's improving Côte de Beaune, especially for the whites. It's nearly adequate in the Côte Chalonnaise, and in the Mâconnais it's fairly okay. Better in the south, less so good in the north.
En volume.
In volume, that is. Yes, Livine is specifying not quality-wise, but volume-wise. Yes, you tasted yourself. The quality is pretty good.
On a eu quand même une chance extraordinaire.
Look, we were very fortunate.
Ces 2 semaines magnifiques.
We had 2 beautiful weeks, end of August, early September. The sun, the northern wind that dried up a little bit the grapes, and the fact that the harvest was fairly low, so that the very few grapes were able to ripen easily. We had a concentration. And all of this added to the technical and quality control that we were able to develop in the last decades is that we are able now to face vintages that are complicated and produce excellent quality wines. We saw this in 2023 and 2024.
S'il vous plaît, ici, une toute petite question sur la spectaculaire progression de la Suède.
Progress of Sweden. What is this due to?
Ce qui est très intéressant,
What is very interesting, the créments,
mais essentiellement les vins blancs,
especially the whites, the Chablis, are of interest to Swedes. And the Blanc du Mâconnais and Regional de Sweden were supposed to consume reds, and apparently gradually there has been a change. I mean, the Burgundy wines really are soaring, literally.
Très bien, mais écoutez,
very well, then.
Il me reste à vous remercier. Il me reste à vous remercier.
Thank you very much.
Je laisse la parole à Guillaume.
I now yield to Guillaume again to wrap it up.
Merci beaucoup, Laurent.
Thank you very much, Laurent. Yeah, as a matter of fact, as François said, we have interesting prospects which are improving a little bit the weather conditions. For this 164th wine here, look, I think you have received a lot of information and you know everything about this 164th wine sale and its consequences for the hospital. You were also able to get explanations about beautiful causes defended by beautiful associations and foundations. I wish you a very good day and above all, good sales. Thank you.